Hello, and welcome to the next episode, Learn, Grow, Do, Repeat with Jamie Totino. We have a very special guest on today, a great friend of mine and someone that I'm really honored to have write the foreword for Be Great, the book. He's the founder of Life Worldwide. Life, leadership is for everyone. Known for his street-to-boardroom approach to life, he has proven his success by building a $100 million plus privately owned security company to being one of the best and biggest in the world. With his ability to draw from his incredible life experiences, he sheds new light on challenging topics and prescribes what he calls the medicine needed. We have Harry Korras. Welcome, Harry.
What an introduction, mate. Unbelievable. I wish the crowd could see it, James. Fantastic.
Don't worry, where they are listening, running, whatever they're doing, they're clapping, they're cheering. They're pumped to have you here. Harry, we're going to get stuck straight into a little bit of rapid fire, which is
Absolutely.
Quick questions with quick answers. Now,
Okay.
I have not pre-warned you at all. So for the listeners out there who are like, maybe he knows, he has no idea. Harry, what is your favorite song right now?
Oh, geez, you got me. Right now. I was thinking food, Jamie. All right, rapid. Boss.
Okay.
There's a song called... Yep, go.
Favorite the song. We're gonna Google it and we're gonna YouTube it later. Boss, I love it. Favorite song to get you pumped up to?
Oh, it's got to be AC/DC.
AC/DC. I love it.
Right.
Your favorite movie?
Ooh, Man on Fire.
With Denzel?
Yeah.
Nice
Revenge.
one. Nice one. Love it. Favorite book?
Oh, mate. Be great.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Go-to meal?
Go-to meal would have to be steak.
Steak, okay. How do you like it cooked?
Medium.
Love it. Favorite TV show?
TV show. I don't watch a lot of TV, Jamie, but if I had to have a favorite, it would have to be Managing Asia.
Managing Asia. All right. Interesting. Okay. Your biggest celebrity / sporting idol growing up?
It's going to sound biased, but it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Totally. Did you one of my favorite movies of his, it's probably one of the first, if not old school, is Commando. Absolutely love that movie. And
the story, that's the movie he loves. And I said that to him and he said, that's my favorite movie. Nobody talks about it. He loves it.
It's so unrealistic as well. It's like one guy kills an entire country, but you know. I love it. One thing you hate or dislike and you can't say coriander.
So it doesn't have to be food.
No, it can be anything.
I just dislike, what's the word? People doing bad, like scumbags.
I like it.
Don't like it.
Haven't got time for that.
I haven't got time for that, mate.
Funniest
haters.
Or craziest thing you've done?
Oh, come on.
I know you're a man of many stories, so we'll get to the stories.
The funniest or craziest, you're saying?
Either one, you choose.
Well, the craziest thing I've ever did, one of, was overnight we set up an office in Adelaide. We won a big security contract. We nearly won it. We thought we won it. And then what happened? They said, okay, no problem. We'll come and see your office tomorrow morning. But we had no office. So
this is in Adelaide?
Yeah, this is in Adelaide. We had nothing. And I negotiated. This is a couple of the boys that will be here. That's their favourite story in the world, where I negotiated this guy a little space and I said, look, can I just have this for tomorrow morning? Never told him what was happening. We bought furniture. The furniture was left out in the street. We put everything together. We had to paint the joint. We did everything. So that was one of the craziest things we did. And they turned up in the morning and I put a fake phone there. And he said, so we tried to ring you, there's no phone number. I said, well, we're relying on telecom, mate, because they're not letting us through, And I said, why don't we go downstairs? The coffee's better than up here. It wasn't our office.
You wouldn't even have to Well, that's what you do. That's what you do, huh? I love it. Are you more of a book or audio book?
Ooh, I've tended to go more audio now.
Okay.
Convenient for me, yes.
Summer or winter?
Oh, I'm going to be a hypocrite now. I did just say not long ago, I think I'm enjoying this winter thing, but
Summer, absolutely. Sum up your mindset, Harry, in one word.
What was that? Sorry.
Your mindset. Sum up your mindset in one word.
Positive. No doubt about it.
Positive. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
No
Your
doubt.
proudest moment personally and proudest moment in your business life.
Proudest personally would have to be achieving what I said I was going to achieve in life, and of course in business, ultimately getting over the 100 million mark.
Totally. I love that. Tell us something, Harry, that no one knows about you.
Well, I can't tell you that.
Well, maybe 99% of people don't know about you then.
Something that nobody knows about me.
Yeah.
Oh God, nobody knows about me. Good, I couldn't tell you exactly that, but I'll. What do they say? Dead people don't talk, mate. No,
totally.
One thing, but probably a lot of people don't know this. They probably wouldn't expect this from me, but I like time alone. Because I'm always around 400 million people. You know, it's always happening. Going bananas. But
yeah.
I enjoy my time. Me time.
Bit of Harry time. I love it. Tell us, ask that question. Tell us your greatest failure that ended up being your biggest lesson you ever had.
Without a doubt, at the end of my era in my security business, turning a blind eye to something that was my biggest failure, but also become now my biggest learning.
Totally. And you can substitute that word failure with, whatever other word that we want to put into it. If you could choose to have lunch with any one person in the world, 2-hour time limit, past or present, dead or alive, and where would you do it?
It would have to be, for me, and this is going to sound crazy, the viewers probably break your bloody computer in that. I think because he's just got the guts to do what he's done, Donald Trump.
I love it.
Why? Because of business and taking on the politics. And it is what it is. I mean, success leaves clues, right? So
Absolutely.
I just love to know how this bloke's mind ticks,
Absolutely. And it would be an interesting, lunch.
It's easy to say Steve Jobs. It's easy to say Mark Zuckerberg,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. They've done the obvious. Right?
Correct.
This guy's a lunatic. So,
Hey, he's done something right. He's done it right in life. He's done it right. What was 10-year-old Harry like?
Funny enough, 10-year-old Harry was, I was not normal, mate. I used to always in trouble, right? So always standard procedure in trouble.
Yeah.
But 10 years old, I was working in the farms in Mildura.
There you go. Okay.
Family
working away.
Yeah.
I like it. Last question of rapid fire. What's the one trait or quality, skill, value, something that you have within the closest, say, 5 friends, family, business, acquaintances, that and something that's consistent across them all, but something that the number one that you value the most?
Respect. No respect, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that's rapid fire. Well done.
That was rapid.
That was intense.
I didn't even have the mouth guard in. You just started from.
The mouth guard definitely was not in for that one. I love it. No. We definitely have to search that song, Boss. Yes. Maybe we'll put it out there for the listeners afterwards. Quick one on this whole COVID time. For you, Harry, what's one thing that you've learned about yourself during COVID?
That you can do it on your own. You have to do it on your own, right? So you can lean and keep leaning on people, but in the end, the realities are, and you know me, I always talk about it.
Totally.
Remember the old saying is, if the buck stops with you, the fish rots at the head, or APR, right? Absolute personal responsibility.
Yeah.
So I've learned that you can do it on your own. You have to do it on your own.
I love it. We've got to lead from that space. We've got to lead from, and then everyone else will just join on the journey. The right people will come into your life and they'll join your team on the way. And I know you're a man of many stories, and we know we got a little bit of a half story earlier in regards to Adelaide. So throughout the journey, just feel free to drop them in. I'm sure the listeners and viewers will absolutely love a good Harry story, and those who know you and know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But take us back, Harry. Where did it all begin? Like, I know you mentioned there a lot about the security, ACG, and all that. But what about before that? Like you mentioned, always in trouble out in Mildura as a 10-year-old. But what happened in between there to then business, and what was it like for you?
Yeah. Well, for me, migrant parents, the Wogs, Greeks, got to the boat. Lived in Brunswick all my life, grew up in Brunswick, the Brunswick of then, not the Brunswick of now.
Totally.
We had a very colourful neighbourhood, and we had choices to make, right? You can either run with the easy way or you can run the hard way, right? And I chose hard over easy, because if you do it hard now, you do it easy later. Do it easy now, do it hard later, right? So my younger days, when I say I got shipped, I went to Mildura. I had an uncle that lived there, and the greatest thing, my mum and dad chucked me on a train. It used to be the V-Line Rattler. You get on this plane, you end up there, you go at night and you get there in the morning. So I'd go there and pick fruit. We grew up differently, you know what I mean? We never grew up with money, so we were very poor. No car, no home phone, no colour TV, no nothing. It was, you share the room with my brother, the three of us. We share the room, and it was just the way it was. And I knew one thing: I'm not going to stay poor. I want to do something big. I know I'm going to do something, but I also learnt very quick that we were very much street life. We were living the street life, and it was hustle, do what you got to do. So I started at a very young age, whether I was picking grapes and then making a few bucks, bringing it back home, giving it to my mum to pay the bills and do whatever. I felt it was a duty of mine. And then I then ended up working at an indoor cricket centre. It was the first ever indoor sports centre in Australia, right?
Wow.
And it was called Australian Indoor Sports. And the bloke that owned it, his name was Lance Dixon. Lance now's got the Lance Dixon Motors.
Yeah.
And if you fast forward from I started working there when I was 11, and we were walking past the street one day, and we're looking through this bloody window in Brunswick, and he came out and he said, "What are you doing?" And we said, "Oh, nothing. We're just having a look." And he goes, "Come and empty the bins and vac the joint and have a couple of dim sims and a chocolate." We were like, "Far out, that's unbelievable. Never had a dim sim in my life. Didn't know what it was." We were like, "Yeah, no worries." So I got this job, and I used to go there every day after school. And then I went from, from just sweeping the floors to becoming a little bit of they gave me a jumper. It was a little tiny jumper. I was like a little like manager. I was the manager now. So I learned very quick that I had to ring people, book you in for your indoor cricket. They started indoor soccer, indoor netball.
Wow.
So we had some real fun, And I did that for about 3 years. Yeah. And I think I was 14. And then, now we're going to the gym, we're boxing, we're doing all this sort of stuff, keeping fit, whatever. And then, of course, I'm at school, Brunswick High and all that. But, school wasn't for me. I didn't hate it, but, I couldn't see the value. Yeah. And I wasn't doing anything there. We're just going there picking up chicks, having fun. As you do, Jamie.
Just being brutally honest. I love it.
That's what happened. And then I remember the principal said to me one day, "Listen, mate, don't come back here." I said, "Yeah, no worries. I won't come back." And I didn't. And then, just kept working our way. And then I was 15, 16. We got asked to work at a club. They said, through the gym, a bloke that we knew in the gym said, "Listen, you blokes want to work at this club thing?" It was an underage disco thing. We're like, "Yeah, whatever. Can you fight?" I said, "Yeah, we'll have a punch on. Doesn't worry else, whatever." This is young. We had no
totally,
idea.
Yeah.
Off we went. We did that. And then, of course, that became my career, Jamie. I went from the back door to the front door, mate. I had the promotion.
Yeah.
And I think we were getting $50 a day or whatever. I couldn't remember what it was. But back then, it was big money,
Totally. We were loaded. I love it. So just by being right time, right place with the guy at the gym's like, "Hey, you guys want to come and stand at the door or whatever?"
Yeah, we'll need some people at the back door. Make sure no one's allowed in. They only can come out, right? No one comes in. Somebody tries to come in, fix them. We're all right, yeah, no worries.
I love it. There's your $50. Fix them. I love it. So so that's obviously where the whole security game life came into it for you.
Yeah. So off I go. I'm there, just full on working security, doing that. And now I'm about 18, 19. Although in between that, I had a little bit of what I did fail to mention. In between that, when I was about 16-ish, about 16 to 17, 18, around there, 16, 17, I think, I can't remember, but whatever it was, we helped out a mate of ours that had a disco hire company. It was called Street Beat Discos back then. It was like, the place to be. It was like mobile disco. So you set up these mobile discos and people, they DJ your 21st birthday.
At like people's houses and stuff.
Yeah. So we'll go to people's houses. So we'll do about 30 parties every weekend, and you have to drop off the equipment. So we had a great time, mate. It was just, and in all, the boys would almost argue it was the best time of our life, because
totally
you had a 21st or a birthday every weekend,
and multiple.
I'll let your imagination work that out. But we had a great time,
I can only imagine. So again, like it's sort of like from that 15, 16 sort of age, you were in that scene of parties and events and security and bringing equipment in and out and looking after the back door and then moving to the front door. Was it from that stage that you pretty much stayed in security the entire time? Like, did you come out of it and then go back in?
Stayed in it all my life, and then that was it. I stayed in. You know what they say, Jamie. Once you get in, you can't get. Hard to get in, harder to get out, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I stayed in there, and then I was 18. I met my my now wife. You know, I met these chicks in the door. You know, the hero, give them the drink cards, mate. You know, all this sort of stuff back then.
Totally.
Walk the line and knock back the people that weren't dressed appropriately. Knock back everybody the owner didn't like, and then more girls. The ratio was 10 to 1, so you were laughing at the bloke.
Oh, is that lucky? Why wasn't I around at that time?
Should have been around, Jamie. I'll tell you.
We need Harry back on the door. We need Harry back on the door. So when did the business for you journey begin? Like, was there a point where you're like, I'm going to go and do it myself? Did it just sort of land on your lap? Like, how did that?
No. So what happened? I was working for a big provider, and there's an old saying. I'm not going to go right into the detail of that, but I built a really great company for him.
Yep.
But he promised me the world, and he gave me the Atlas. And in 2000, so I was there for about 7 years, and then in year 2000, I decided to pull the pin, which I did, and I set up my own company in March of 2001. Sorry, it was 2001. I'm trying to do my maths. And I started in 2001. But what I knew straight away, Jamie, was that everything that I learned at the other organisation was an apprenticeship, and it learned me everything about what not to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So did you have any experience around business at all, or you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to go out there and do it for myself, do it properly? What
I did know, I learned very quick that I wasn't in the security business. I was in the people business, and I love people. You either love the numbers or the people, right? I love people, and they used to call me Harry the Hirer because I could get 100 people in a flash. Boom, on the phone, ring 3 people. We've got 100 blokes there, men and women.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
I had that ability. So
So when you did launch that, like, what were you just doing nightclubs? Were you doing parties? Like, where did you get into?
I'm glad you asked that, Jamie, because when I started ACG, I said I will never do a pub or a club ever again. You got to remember, I spent a very long time in the pubs and clubs. I worked at some of the roughest pubs in town.
Yeah.
I worked there, and all I was trying to do, mate, was buy some nappies and feed the family. Mum got very sick when I was young, so Dad had to stop work, and we still didn't own a home, and everything I earned, I had to bring back then. I'm feeding 2 families now. Like, as I said, I met my missus. She got pregnant. I had my daughter when I was 19 when I had my kid. And, I had to move very quick and do things very quick. And, everything from, I was unfortunately involved in the murder trials, people being bashed and shot dead and this and that. And then we went through all this underworld bullshit. And I had friends in both camps, people passing away, people going to jail for life. So, you got to understand, when I talk about the mix, there was a really big mix of a lot of things happening very quick. And
it's not your usual sort of, it's not the usual sort of journey that someone would speak about, or it's like, I had a few challenges where like this happened. It was like, well, this is a completely other side of the spectrum. So no nightclubs, no bars, none of that. So was it more like events, so to say? So
what we said we'll do major events and corporate. But one would argue that we had the biggest pub in town at the time. It was Colonial Stadium, and on a Friday night, you got 58,000 drunks.
Totally. So I love it. Go to the MCG or Colonial Stadium then. That definitely would have been. So events, like venues, corporate, and it all just sort of built from there.
Yeah, so I had a reputation in the event industry, because what happened when I worked for this other company, we took over the football, the AFL security. Yeah. And back then, the AFL was only on Saturdays and Friday night MTG, Friday night fight night at the G, right? Richmond. Wrong squad, you guys.
Come on.
Come on, magnificent. So I already had built a reputation in there, and I've been lucky enough to do a lot of big concerts.
Yeah.
I built a reputation, and people got to know me through all around the world. So if they're bringing a big a band in town, or a big event, or someone's coming to town, they would hook me up, and we would do what we got to do.
You were the guy. You were the guy.
Yeah. We became a go-to.
You said earlier, like, and even part of the intro, like you got to the scale of, and one of the YouTubers, like getting to that 100 million.
Yeah.
What sort of operation is that? Like, what sort of scale is that? Like, just so people can understand. Like, even sometimes me, I'm like, okay, cool, $100 million, I can sort of see that. But like, how many people is that? How many events is that? How much staff members is that? Like, how many polos and vests are you giving out for something like that?
Yeah. it's a matter. Look, Jamie, what I say, what people also forget, and always start with this: it's people forget about the blood, sweat, and tears.
Totally.
It's blood, sweat, and tears to get to 100 mil, but you got to be passionate enough to have that number. You can't hit something you can't see, mate. Right?
Correct.
So I had a target, and my target
that.
was 100 mil. Yeah,
I like that.
And that's what I'm going to hit.
Can't hit something you can't see.
Yeah, right. So
I'm going to write that
what
one
we
down.
did, we're going to have a crack. We're going to do that. And I knew then the team that I had then would not probably make it because I was playing grand finals. I'm playing premiership. I don't want to play little league. We're going to the top. Come with me or come without me. You know. I'm going without you. So, call it harsh, call it whatever you like, but there was no room for error. So
that was the vision. That was the vision you had, Harry. It was like going to bring the right people and they can join it. I love it.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know.
I love it. So and then so what was it like? Was there like how many staff? Like again, what does it
Just
take to have? How many?
Just under 5,000 staff.
Wow.
Yeah, big, huge payroll, big operation. When you talk uniforms, we're spending $1 million on uniform a year, you know, so heaps of polos, heaps of shirts and ties and all whatever you want to call it, right? But it was a massive operation. But one thing, Jamie, the business got pushed and shoved because we were so passionate. We talk about stories. You know, for me to go and get Colonial Stadium at the time, and Ian Collins, I always give him a plug. And in fact, I saw him the other day. I ran around the river down where I live now, and he was there, Maribyrnong River, and just having a laugh about everything again. But he gave me my first opportunity. I went there and seen him, and I said, "Mate, come on, give us a go." And he said, "Listen, you got 50 cents in the bank." I said, "I might have 50 cents in the bank, but mate, I've got 50 million in passion. You know that.
Love it.
Let me have a go." And funny enough, he gave us our first start, and that was in early 2001. You know, and we also then get an opportunity with Coca-Cola, biggest brand in the world at the time.
Totally, yeah.
So you know, we were very lucky, but we made our luck, Jamie. You know, we put ourselves out there.
100%. Even teeing up, like you said, that meeting with Ian. You know, that's not luck. Like I'm sure that was phone calls, emails, asking the right people to get a meeting, and then having the ability 100%. And the confidence to negotiate. Say, look, just give us a crack. Like, all bullshit aside, just give us a crack. Like, let us get in there and show you what we can do.
Absolutely.
So 5,000 people. Is that nation or is that even national? Or is that even globally, like outside of Australia?
So we're all over Australia. We're doing some stuff in Hong Kong and Vietnam and New Zealand. We're looking at PNG. We got asked to do some work there, but that didn't go through. But we had a very big operation, 100+ managers. You know, I had to bring in a CEO. You know, and Jamie, my lessons were that I had to learn very quick because I was running a great security company, but I wasn't running a great business.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
So you got to get the people to run your numbers too. You got to make sure. I mean, you're in business to make money. Make no mistake, right? So
agreed.
I went through some tough times there where I had to go bankrupt a couple of times. Not physically, whatever, but there's a PAR, something I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, I don't need money. I'm making money. I'll pay the bills, but it doesn't work like that because you run out of money. So we had a problem where we were getting too much work, right? And I'm thinking, this is fantastic. More work, we're going to be fine. But what you don't realise is that you run out of fuel. You run out of. It's the maintenance, right? You've got to have more money.
The expenses just go through the roof.
Yeah, mate. The systems, processes to be able to,
logistically organise all that.
Yeah, massive operation, massive. You know.
That's awesome. So, how long did it take you to get to that 100 million? Like, was it 6 years? Was it 5 years?
Just under 10 years. Just under 10. And then we exceeded that, you know. Yeah. All right. And I always wanted to get to that number, and then I had an exit strategy in my mind. I thought, I don't want to stay here and be a miserable, fat, bloody slob security bloke. You know, there's more to life, Jamie. You know,
totally.
I've done it for 20 years. I don't need to bloody, do all this.
Were you still hands-on, like out there?
Always. Our products, our people. Hands-on. I wasn't a bloke. I remember we had corporate boxes in every stadium. I was never in the corporate box sipping champagne where my trips are on the floor. You know, I was in amongst it. I always believe you lead in the middle, Jamie, so you can see the front, you can see the back.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Lead in the middle. What were some of the biggest events you had the experience of seeing yourself, or even the brand having the pleasure of being the guards for? Yeah.
So the initial one for me would have had to be in my previous life where I was part of the Sydney 2000 Olympics.
Nice.
I played a very pivotal role in that. So that was a very large event, especially for Australia. And then seeing 7 different, I was head of security for the AFL Grand Finals, for the MCG. I ran 7 of those. I was blessed to be part of all that. And then, of course,
Amazing.
in my time at ACG, everything from every rock concert you can possibly think of, big outdoor music festivals that we started, and they become a really big thing in Australia. Not only
now they are totally.
Yeah, they were huge.
So pretty much any big name event that you'd ever seen a TV commercial for or seen something in a newspaper for, you'd probably been either running it or a part of it.
Oh yeah, heaps. There's been heaps of it. So we had the Com Games, we had the Australian Open, which is the biggest event in Australia. Make no mistake of that. Flemington, the VRC,
the Australian Open. Wow. Okay, the biggest sporting event.
Biggest sporting event in Australia. Massive.
Wow.
Massive. Because it runs for 2 solid
2 weeks. Yeah.
Humongous. And then of course, and most recent times, as you know, with the Arnold Sports Festival, which has 100%. Been unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I got some questions on that a little bit later as well. But what would be some of your biggest lessons, Harry, through ACG and more on like building to that level? Like, again, like you said, like you had the vision, you knew you were going to get to 100 million. Like you wholeheartedly believed in that. Yes. Even getting into it, like you said, you didn't really have too much experience prior, but you just knew that you had the connections. Would that be one of your major elements to it?
People, I've said this to you before, lots of people meet, very few connect. You remember we built a $100 million business with no business development. I had no sales team. Everybody's a salesperson, right?
Totally.
So we grew that organically, then obviously through tenders and etc. But one thing that I learned very quick was that I didn't interfere in the security industry. I didn't want to know about why am I going to go and meet with my competitors, right?
Totally.
Coke's never going to say to Pepsi, "Oh, that wasn't a bad drink you made, mate." It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I went to a completely different direction, and what I did, I went in and I wanted to know what the corporates were doing. I read the financial reviews. I said to you, sitting here, mate, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, Jamie, financial review, to find out the people that I'm servicing, what are they doing? What's Coca-Cola doing? How are they thinking? What's making them tick? How do they put all these things together? How does this happen? So I would pick all those up. As I said, success leaves clues. I'd pick them up and bring them into my business. And I transformed our organisation. I'll tell you this, everybody in our organisation, shirt and tie, full suit. No casual. You go casual, we're casualties. Clean look, act the part, look the part. I educated my staff, motivated them, promoted them, did what we had to do, paid them well, looked after them. We were a family, but we weren't a family-run business. Very
totally. Different. Yeah. You've mentioned that to me before, and I love how you... Do you want to quickly just elaborate on that? Because I know that's really valuable that would be very valuable for people out there who have a sort of a medium-sized business where there could be 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 staff members, maybe not to the 5,000 scale like you, but still it counts at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I always said that we're a family. Why we're a family, Jamie? Because if you rang me at 3 a.m, I'll be at your house. I wouldn't question it. If you said, come to my house now, I'll just get in the car and go. That's what family does. We don't question each other. We respected all cultures, all religions, right? So we used to run barbecues at our big events. We put on a halal barbecue for our Muslim people, right? A vegetarian one for the Indian kids and whoever was a vegetarian. Different for us, we just like a snag. We have a snag over here. But I had separate barbecues, right? Feed them, respect them, do everything and anything I could to keep it as a family. You needed help, we helped you. We did anything and everything we could. That's what family does. But don't step outside the boundary, because then if I'm going to turn a blind eye to you and you're my brother, it's okay, you can do this, he can do that, and no. Then that's a family-run business. That's doing favours. Favours don't work. Okay? And
So family run was more like there's no favors, there's no we're brothers, you can just come in late, go in early, whatever it is.
No.
But we were there to always love and support each other.
I had fallouts from people that were in the family, from things like this, and I had to remove some people for that because they just started to take the piss and take advantage of it. I couldn't afford to have a bad day, right? So it's an interesting...
What would a day of Harry be like at that time, like at the peak? It's pumping, it's going. Like, what was a day in your world like at that stage?
Well, I would do things like some of the people couldn't keep up, Jamie. So for me, I'd get on a plane at 7:10, fly to Perth, be on the plane back at 3:10, flying into Sydney. So I'll do a day in Perth, get into Sydney, enough time to sit and have a couple of drinks with my managers in Sydney, go to bed, get up, do my gym thing, start my day at, I start at 5, but start my day again at 7. Do my meetings, have breakfast, do all that, get on a plane at 12, have lunch on the plane, be back in Melbourne to do my Melbourne stuff. do it all again, back on a plane in Adelaide, bang, Perth, boom, Sydney, Brisbane. That was my day. I would not have a minute to stop. I would, invest in every minute that I had back into me and back into my business.
Yeah.
Networking, promoting, doing, ringing, pushing, shoving, doing what I got to do to make it happen. And if we had these events that I thought I need to be there, I'd be there on the weekend working those events with my people,
I love it.
So,
I love what you said there about leading sort of in the middle. Like, you can see both ends of the scale, know what needs to happen, and be in the thick of it. So if you do get any questions, like, you're there to handle it right away. So tips, you said earlier, tips was connections. Anything else to even scale to 100 million is a huge feat. Even let's say getting halfway there. Any tips?
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, Jamie, that I didn't know. This is hilarious. I didn't realise that in Australia, 100 million is a big business. That's massive, right? I thought we were like still a little business. I didn't think 100 million was massive. You know what I mean? Until I start speaking to the PwCs and the KPMGs, and I'm networking with some really fantastic people saying to me, "Shit, you do 90 million, you're nearly 100. That's a massive business, mate." And I'm thinking, okay, I didn't think it was. But in terms of tips and that, don't just sit in your industry. Don't stay in your lane. People say, stay in your lane. Come out of your lane. Put the mouth guard on, mate. Go to war. One thing that I always said in my organisation every morning, make no mistake, we're at war. Some of my more senior executives hated that terminology because it was, it was very threatening. It was very aggressive. But I used to say, today, we will take food off someone's table. If you think by you coming to my business, trying to take food off my table, I'm not going to come back and get that, you've got another thing coming, right? So we're at war, mate. We're at war. We need to know where you're going. But
That's also the realness of it. That's the realness of it.
That's the reality, mate. Right?
Yeah.
So you also need to know that if you're going to pick a fight professionally, right? Be smart about it. And I'll give you an example of that, right? When I was parading around the office, we're 100 million, yes, we did it, whatever. I'll never forget then a guy that I respected very much in PwC, he's retired now, but he politely let my ties down gently, right? He said, listen, okay, what you do in a year, one of your competitors does every week. Every week. Wow. And I said, yeah, that's right. So it was like, I get it. So no, you know what I mean? Pick your fights. But of course, run to the fight, not from the fight, mate. Have a go. Have a go.
Definitely celebrate the achievement, but then also realize that there's so much more that is out there that can be done, could be done. I love that. I love that.
And then, you talked about the tips. You talked about the tips and all that. One massive thing is, break bread. Bring everyone together. Break bread. Every month we break bread, mate. It's not a piss up. I'd refuse to do that. I was too busy to be intoxicated, too busy to be hangover. I wasn't there. I wasn't ready for a hangover.
Totally.
Not prepared for that.
Imagine what that would do for your schedule. Yeah.
No, not going to happen. So 24/7, you need to be on your game. But we broke bread. Every month we pick a restaurant. X amount of people would turn up. We'd eat. We'd laugh. I want to find out about your wife, how's your kids. We'll have a great night. We all go home. Get ready for tomorrow.
Number one is that connection. It's that family that so far that I've taken from what you said. It's that the way that you break bread. It's the way that you have that family community and I know you've told me the chocolate milk story a few times and even things like that, like that there. Yeah. But that's just the small things that, most people probably would just shake off or not care about or just think whatever. Even the way you did the barbecue, I'm sure that would have cost more money. It would have cost more time. It would have even more logistical to organize it, but it doesn't matter. It needs to be done.
I'll tell you this, Jamie, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll tell you this, right? What most business owners forget is, yes, I'm paying you to be here. You're not doing me a favor. We get that part, right? But what they forget is I could never, ever pay you back for the time that you give me. The birthdays you've missed, the engagements, late for dinner, the phone calls you're answering at home, you don't go to your kids' concerts, all this stuff. Then eventually, how do I repay you for that? I can't, right? But how does it get repaid? It gets repaid by being a family, by being passionate, and you knowing that I care.
Yeah. And it's actually showing it, not just saying it. It's all well and good to have your meetings, like you said, but say, yeah, we care and we love about you, but then not do all the 100 other things, little 1%ers that you mentioned, to then not get that connection. And again, you know what? Even that, Harry, that's incredible. You can do that with a team of one. If you're the business owner and you've got one person, you can still achieve that. You've got 100 people, you've got 5,000 people, you can still make it happen.
Absolutely. No excuse.
And that's why, yeah, I love it. I love it. And that's why those tips are great, because they're not for any level of business. It's for business. It's for life. You know,
I can sit there and tell you, listen, make sure you get your KPIs right, get your procedures. Well, come on, man. That's all wank. Excuse my language. That's all just, that's tick and flick. If I'm going to, I never hide on a resume. You came in, you spoke the language, you understood, you got a right attitude, you got to get up and go. You're hungry, you're passionate, you want to learn, join the team.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, you get the other people to worry about that sort of stuff. And that's why you're leading the business to that sort of scale.
Of course.
One thing that I have a huge, sometimes was like, is this real? Is your little black book of contacts? And it sort of goes back into the connections and contacts. How powerful is that for someone to build those connections and know? Because that's what will open doors ultimately. But again, absolutely. For you, was that always a mindset you had? Did that sort of just happen over time? Did you know that those connections would be valuable?
You know what, Jamie, for me, when you become a client of mine, there was nothing we wouldn't do for you. Okay. And I would allow your imagination to think about some of the stuff that we would have had to do. And I can assure you, everything from protecting your children to making sure that, I'll give you an example. One of my managers was feeding somebody's chickens when he went overseas. He was passionate about his chickens, right? Now, this guy here now is a massive player in the facility game. I could ring him anytime. I could ask him any question anytime, because we cared. We were passionate enough to care.
How good is that? Feeding his chickens.
Yeah, of course, mate. And that's just minute to, whether your kids are drug affected, whether your kids are in a relationship that they shouldn't be in, whether we need to go and find the car that you parked somewhere that you forgot where you parked because you're intoxicated, and stuff that we need to do for you so that you don't make the media. A million and one things behind the scenes, but more importantly, our clients became our friends. We would talk, like if I had an hour meeting with you, Jamie, about, you're my client. We spoke 5 minutes about security. So don't worry about the bloody bomb going on. We've got the specialists going to do that.
Correct.
How are you going? How's family? How's home? What's going on here? What can we do? I know that guy. Let me connect you with him. Who? This guy? Leave it to me. Bang. And I think I'll tell you that famous story in Perth, right?
Yeah, the footy one.
The footy, so you can't just sit still. Someone's got a problem, find the solution, right?
I love that. So was that your strategy, or was that just how it naturally happened to build that little black book?
That was inside me. Yeah, the black book. And you know what, Jamie? It would be wrong for me to sit here and tell you that black book is full of corporates. That black book also has, my old life, my street life. I know people from all walks of life. I still visit people in jail who are my friends. But you know what? They still know somebody that knows somebody. You know somebody that I know.
Correct.
And we join the dots. Join the dots. There's no need to go to war. Let's join the dots.
Yeah. And again, it sort of comes back to that bait of just trying to, like you said, if someone's not so much like in physical pain, but if they need help, if they're not in the right space, if they're not feeling in the way they need to feel, and you can help them in some way, shape, or form because you know someone that can connect them with someone else.
100%.
Play your part.
I want to isn't it? Giving is receiving, mate. Never forget that.
I love it. I want to touch on life worldwide now. But just one thing before that, how did you get into the self-development world? Like, was that something for you that, even for yourself, reading the Fin Review, you just brought it up then, reading books, going to events and learning and just being that sponge? Again, was that something you always had? Was that something that came out more recently?
Yeah. No. I was always self-taught. I never went to, I finished year 8. I didn't do any. I've never done any course. I've never done a test in my life. I've never done anything, right? I tried to do the driving test, which I failed my limit. My wife did the funniest thing. And I was 25, Jamie. So that's another funny story. But I was doing Barista Totino. I said, let's go. Let's drive the car, right? And she's like, show me the thing. Show me the card. Okay, the machine's not working. They couldn't do the photo. The machine's not working.
I love it.
And she goes, yeah, really? And I said, yeah, they failed. But anyway, I learned, self-learned. I love to read. I love to explore. I always read biographies like Kerry Packer, Rise and Rise, another incredible book. How did these guys do it? What happened? How did they nothing just lands there.
Totally.
Even if your father gives you the multi-billion-dollar business, right? You've got a responsibility.
100%.
How do these people do it? You know what I mean? So I kept educating myself. I kept learning more and more and more. And then when we were protecting all the big AGMs, I would listen to their strategies, their mergers, their acquisitions, raising money. Shit, how do they do that? This is crazy. How this and that. So that's how I did it. And then what I learned when I walked out of ACG at later stages, and I always said I would love to, and I always talk about, I'm going to do a charity and I'm going to bring people in and educate them and motivate them and pump them up. This was my theory, right? What I realized at later stages, I've done this all my life. I would brief 500, men and women, security. I brief them for the day, right? This is what we need from you. And then continually encourage them throughout the 10, 18-hour shift that we had on, right? To make sure that they come to work safe, they leave happy. I don't want them coming to work this way, going home in an ambulance. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I think
you were naturally just always leading and had that. Maybe didn't have the title like you have, but you just naturally did that.
Yeah. Which
I love it.
Leads us into it, right? The leader without a title.
Exactly right. Incredible book. So Life Worldwide, Leadership is for Everyone. Where did that concept come from, Harry? Like before that, like what was your natural leadership style? Like were you just lead, like again, like you sort of mentioned, lead from the middle, but like were you always like that natural leader and thought, you know what, I want to go out there and educate more on that?
Yeah. I loved it. I love bringing people up from nothing. And I would go around and shake every single guard's hand. Every single person working that event would come and see me. I would go and see them. I would thank them because without them, we had no business, right? So I had that from the start. I knew I love people. Yeah, 100%. And I still get messages today, Jamie. I had one last night on my, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And the kid, it's funny, I want to share this with you because the kid, look at this. This can only happen to me. The phone rings.
That's all right.
You still got me?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'll switch this off because the bloody stupid thing. I don't know what goes on my computer. What is that, mate? Unacceptable. But, I still get messages today, Jamie, from people saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have this, what I've got today. I used to give them birthday cards. You know what I mean? Handwritten birthday cards. So they still collect them. They still got them there. They still reflect on it. Nobody thinks about these things, mate, So,
it's crazy though. And again, a 10-cent birthday card, 1 minute out of your time to write, hey, Harry, happy birthday. All the best. Thanks for everything you've done. Have a great year.
Correct. Is that hard? Come on. And I would crack a joke with you because I know it's Jamie and I'll say, yeah, real food vending, mate. Keep it pumping.
Totally.
The tiger's pink or something like that. You would get it.
Totally.
You know what I mean? We would get the joke. Yeah.
Are you going to share that LinkedIn message if you want?
Well, I was trying to. I got it right here. I got rid of I put it on silent, which is good. So
no, that's all right. No, again, this person might listen to it, and at least he appreciates the fact that it's
Absolutely. So last night, obviously, Sam and I went live, and we're trying to sort it out. We went live a few times, and people were going, "Oh, they're live," But we're all planning it, right? Anyway, and this kid who said to me, he wrote a little message saying, "Harry, you can do all these things with streaming private, Facebook, blah 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 blah," right? And I wrote back to him. I said, "Thank you for the update, brother. I appreciate it." He writes, "No worries, brother. More power to you." And I said, "You're very kind," right? And he writes to me, "Oh no, brother. What I am today is because of your guidance, love. I love you very much. I appreciate everything you did for me. Much love and respect." Now,
wow.
No one would have given this kid an opportunity, but you know why I gave him an opportunity? Because he was passionate, mate. He wanted to have a go, do something, be somebody. And nobody does that, Jamie.
That's incredible.
Nobody seeks the potential in the people. You know what I mean? Does that? I don't know if it makes sense.
100%. How long did he work with you, Harry?
Oh, probably about. He was only 3 years with me. 3 years
in his life is 3 years is very minute in the entire lifespan. But look what you've been able to create for him.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, these kids say, my parents didn't give me a birthday card. You know what I mean? Like, that breaks your heart. You think about this shit. And I used to believe, my big, massive belief, Jamie, was I used to reward good behaviour. You know what I mean? Don't always look for the bad.
Totally. Good point. We always, for whatever reason, remember the negative and the shit that didn't work and the shit that's not going as planned. But we don't remember the shit that has gone to plan and the deals that you did win and the deals that you brought, the people you brought in. So Life Worldwide, leadership is for everyone. For you, now I know you launched it a few years back, and now it's a little bit more out there, and you're putting a lot more energy and effort towards it. What is Life Worldwide for those out there listening?
Yeah, so Life Worldwide, correct. Life leadership is for everyone. I started this company, Jamie, just to give back. I wanted to motivate people and get them. I used to always say I want to put people back together again, right? Because everybody that started coming to me were busted, had dramas, problems. And it was like, I don't know why, but I reckon for the first 12 months, it was the same problem everybody had. One, substance abuse, lack of responsibility, right? Just blaming the victim. Oh, they done this to me, he done this, she done that, he said, she said, whatever, right? And finances. Those were the three ongoing issues, which they're still around. Make no mistake of that. They're still going around. But I said to myself, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way to do this. They can't just, I've got to help these people. I don't know. So I thought there's only one way to do this, and I'm not going to fluff it. I got nothing to lose. These are not my clients, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just went deep. I would say, as an example, all right, Jamie, I'm only doing a bit of thing on Friday night. No, you're not, mate. You're no good. It's rubbish, Drugs, zero tolerance to drugs. There's your problem automatically. So what happened to the victim? You're talking about something that happened to you in 1942, mate. You're still going on about it. Get over yourself. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I would really attack the client, and I felt that people were very scared to, tell you the truth, tell you what you wanted to hear, because you know what? They're scared to lose you as a client. Yeah. I wasn't scared to lose you as a client because I don't care. It doesn't worry me.
Well, they'll never actually really your client in the first place. They'll just people that actually reached out. You're like, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not. Here's the medicine, as you say. Take it or not.
Take it if you want to take it. You don't want it, no worries, mate. No issue,
I love it.
And then what started to happen, it started to reverse engineer itself. And I would start to then get a lot of respect from these people because they're saying to me, mate, oh, that's true, mate. I shouldn't do that. And I said, no, you shouldn't do that. And bad behavior, whatever. And then I'll dig deeper. We'll do the deep dive as I talk about the deep dive, right? People panic on the deep dive because that's everything. Cheating. No one likes a cheater, mate,
100%.
Come on,
And it's all those little things. So you were basically just, what's the word? Like you came in there to, like you said, put them all back together. They had challenges. They had whatever level it was, whether it was business, personal, past or present stuff that was going on, and you were able to be there for them and sort of lead them through that. Correct.
And what would I start to find is that businesses had massive dramas, big dramas internally. Well, the old saying, revenue feeds your ego, profits feed your family, right? And
100%.
When you start digging deep into these people, they'll start to say, oh yeah, but I'm making, no, you're not making money. Money's freedom, and you're pissing your money up the wall. Or why have you hired this guy? Oh, he's my best mate. Well, he's not doing anything good for you. You know what I mean? And then other things such as, again, as I said, substance abuse, cheaters, playing up with their wives and their husbands, all these, which what happens, Jamie? It becomes a disease. It becomes negative. Therefore, that starts to ooze. People start to feel it. How you behave, people feel it.
100%.
People smell it, right? So,
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Life Worldwide now. So like I said, you launched it a couple of years ago, but really more this year. It's been and you're out there doing so much more now, and got the young, you have working with the young, you're working with businesses, you're working with people that aren't with businesses, but they just want to learn and they need some of the medicine. What's Life Worldwide doing now, and what's Harry and the team doing now?
Yeah, so Life Worldwide now, we have X amount of businesses that are now permanently on with us. So what we do, we go through a process with you. So we start with you, so work on yourself. So we call it brain, body, and bank, right? So work on your brain, mindset. Where are you at? Do you really want to be doing this, Jamie? Is this what you want to do? No, I've had enough. Okay, fine. Amputate it. Get rid of it. Don't do something you don't want. Life's too short.
100%.
The clock's ticking. The clock never stops, right? So we focus on that. And if you say, yes, I want to do it, then we focus on the bank. Okay, well, have you got the fuel in the tank? Oh, yeah, I do. Well, let's have a look. Well, if you want to go here, you need this much money. If you don't have this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So we put that together. And then, of course, body, mental, physical. How do you feel? What are you consuming? Junk. If you're going to continue, you're going to be slow. You're not going to move. You're not going to be able to do these things. So
You spoke
We
about
do a lot of
brain
that.
there. You spoke about on the brain is like, what are you doing now? Whether it's a business thing or whatever, or it could even be a career for someone. And it's like, well, if it's not what you want to do, like get out. Is it really that cutthroat? Like, is it really
Yeah.
like, does
Yeah.
it have to be like, not does it have to be that
Well,
way, but like you said, the clock's ticking and I love that. Like the time never stops.
yeah. You know what, Jamie? In the old days, it was the big that killed the small. Today, it's the fast that killed the slow. Okay. And if you don't want to jump on that concept, and a lot of people will turn around and say, including myself at times, I've said, don't forget speed kills, but it kills a lot of things. If you're too slow, if you're procrastinating, because you know what, you can float around on your phone, you could scratch your bum and do this, and then you go on internet, and all of a sudden you're busted. You've wasted
a month goes by.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you calculate that over there. Work out how much time you got in a day, Jamie. I think I shared this method with you, right? I do 3 days in a day, right? 6 till midday till 6 p.m., 6 p.m. till midnight, okay? So I'll say it again, 6 a.m. to midday till 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to midnight. I've got 3 days in one. That's how I run my day. So where was I now? I was at a meeting in the city, right? I had a meeting in the city. That's my day, done with that client. Yeah. Come back. Yeah. I had a quick Zoom call with another client of mine who's buying the company just to confirm a few things. But this is my me time now, right? I've got until 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. till midnight is my family time. Yeah. It's my different time, right?
I love it. I love it.
People don't do that. They schedule it very differently. Oh, my calendar's full. I've done this. What do you mean your calendar's full? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Show us. Show us exactly what you're doing. And I love that. It's the smaller details within the day to really, like you said, in the ACG time, like there was no time to just have a random phone call or do a random thing. Like it was so scheduled. It had to be that way for you to be all over the country, all at meetings or events. Yeah. So again, like life worldwide now, you're working the 3 Bs, the brain, body, and bank. What else? Like, it's a lot online stuff. Obviously, once this whole COVID thing ends, there's going to be a lot more in-person sort of things.
Yeah, Jamie, look, for me, I want to be polite and respectful about this. There's a lot of people in a lot of pain out there. And what we've been doing the past, I can tell you, I call it 6 months, if you like. We've just been giving out medicine, sweat equity, just pumping it out there, telling people that they can see the light. It is going to be okay. Don't give up. There is alternatives. If you really are in a dark place, seek help. Don't just give up. I think you'll find that just by giving up, it's an easy option. It could be the worst thing you put on your last dollar. You've been the most horrible person. Why don't you treat this lockdown? I said to one of my, well, it was several of them actually. All right, we're locked down for 6 weeks. Don't worry about jumping on the conspiracy theory. Do a 6-week detox. 100%. Don't drink. Don't have sugar. Be a good human being. Learn to love again. You know what I mean? It's easy to hate. It's easy. I hate you. Don't speak to me. Easy. But I'll turn up to your funeral. The wogs are the best at it, right?
They don't speak to you 20 years. They don't speak to you for 20 years, and then they're there.
Hey, they turn up to your funeral, Uncle Joe. I had to come. It's respect. What respect? You had no respect for 20 years, champ. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, how could this be happening, Joe? I'll put it on song.
You're all right, buddy. No stress. So all online, giving the medicine, a lot of just getting it out there. Life worldwide, I'm sure they can find you online, Instagram, social media, all that sort of stuff, yeah?
Absolutely. Well,
go and get the medicine. Let me ask you this, Harry. What's one thing that you've learned over the years that blew you away? Be like, wow, I can't believe I learned that, or that was powerful.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is just have a go. Okay. People go, well, what do you mean by that? Because I had this question asked to me a couple of months ago. You'd be amazed to know that I think the right word is show up no matter what. Just show up no matter what's happened. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you didn't do, haven't done, whatever. Show up. You just be amazed to know what good comes out of that, right? Totally. Don't hide. And I had my ups and downs, but I never hid, JB. Never hid. It is what it is, right?
Front it up, yeah.
Run up, face the music. I had somebody very senior in the AFL ask me a question, right? And the question was around whether I would be keen to go and talk to a football club that are in a very, let me tell you this, the whole football thing, and I'm not picking on the football, but I'm just telling you, there's a huge drug culture. Okay?
100%.
Okay. And I was asked, would you come in and talk? And I said, I will only come and speak to these people if they have a shave, wear their bloody club uniform the way it needs to be worn, not with short pants and no socks. I'm not talking about, they're not on the fashion on the field. This is a team. And I'll never forget telling them, if the Essendon Football Club had lined up and said, right, here we are, we're not sure, but we think we've done the wrong thing. We've taken this. We don't know.
Yeah.
But to hide, look at the chaos, look at the catastrophe that it's caused to the club and so many people with it.
And those players.
So what does it come up to? Front up, mate. That's the thing that I learned it as a young kid. No matter what, front up. It is what it is, mate. You got to deal with it.
I love it. On the back of that, Harry, what are some of your top habits? Like, how does Harry do what he does today? How does Harry stay in shape? How does Harry, still turn up to these meetings and deal with some of the biggest people there are and still have that sharpness, so to say?
So look, I always talk about these things. And one is speed and flexibility, right? How quick you are, how flexible you are to the problem. Best in the world. Don't sit there and tell me this is your point of difference if you haven't explored options. I traveled the world, Jamie, to become the person I am today, right? I went and found out where do they do it? Who does the best event security? Who does the best coaching? Who do I think is the best mentor? Robin Sharma. I went to his events. Robin's my mentor. Robin's a personal friend of mine. I've learned so much from the best, right? Troops eat first. Happy team's a dangerous team, run to the fight, not from. KMF, you hear me scream it. Keep moving forward. APR, absolute personal responsibility. Relationships, don't be a cheater. Build up an appetite, go home and eat. Be a loyal, honest person, These are big things. Not many people can do this, Jamie.
Agreed. Right? I asked for 3 and you gave about 10, so that's incredible.
I returned the rapid fire.
Yeah, you threw it back on me. I love it. Hey, there's extra value, extra we're giving out there. Do you remember a moment, Harry, and whether you want to talk ACG or just life to date, do you remember there a moment when you said, like, shit, this is real? Like, look at this. Yeah.
There was one where I never thought I would be able to do it, but I did. And that was, the obvious one's having kids, but come on, right? That's a different conversation, right?
Totally.
And God bless, I'm blessed to have 2 beautiful children, right? And I know I look about 80, but I'm not that old, Jamie. I've got a 26-year-old and a 21-year-old, right? And I'm still with my beautiful wife. But
I love it.
The day that I walked into, and you know me, you've never seen me post pictures of cars and planes. I don't do the garbage, right? But the day that I walked in to Lance Dixon Motors and bought a Bentley, because you got to remember, my father never had a car. We never had a car, thank God, right? Because he used to work at the bloody brewery and make beer. He would kill driving, right? So, and I always said to myself, I'm not driving a Ford and it's easy. It's easy to do that. I'm not doing that. So I bought a Mercedes and I always wanted to buy a Bentley, and I bought that Bentley. And I bought that Bentley from the guy who I used to vac his floors as a 10, 11-year-old kid. So, and when I drove out that day, I thought to myself, yes, this is great. I loved it. I love it.
Was that was ACG still around then, or was this after?
Yeah, no, it was still around. And you know what, Jamie? It was, and I promote this, I talk about this, go through life first class. You'll understand this, what I'll tell 100%. You. Don't be a tight ass. Collect memories, not money, right? Why? You don't know what's happening tomorrow, mate. Agreed. I used to go to the bloody Urello's joint and they had these couches you're not allowed to sit on. remember those people? Because we never did that. We only
know those people. I still know them. Not do I remember them. I still know them.
You still know. So you know what I used to do? I used to go and freaking turn the place upside down, jump on them with my feet and everything, right? And come on, mate. Who lives in the garage? Come, please.
In the garage kitchen. Let's cook the pasta outside.
Come on, man. Live your life first class, James.
I love it. Yeah. And again, like if you put the effort in, you why not reward and celebrate on the journey?
Reward. Eat the best food. Drink the best wine. Take your wife to places. Be amazing. Date night, which I didn't mention to you. Date night. I learned the hard way. I told you. My wife packed up and left. She goes, you're married to 2 people. I said, what are you talking about? You're married to ACG and you're married to me. Make a decision. I think you love your company more than me. Big problem. Get the balance right. Right? Put the attention in the area that it needs to be put.
And thanks so much for and again, I'm sure the listeners, the honesty and the openness and the straight to the. There's no, like you said at the start, like I mentioned earlier, like there's no fluffiness, there's no bullshit. It's just like, this is how it is. And you can see why, and all for the listeners out and the people watching, why I respect you so much, Harry. And again, like you've walked the walk and you've proven it, and you're still out there now leading the way and now in a way passing it on and sharing it back. And even like the messages you got last night, like, how long ago was the last time you potentially might have seen that guy?
Oh, probably 5 years ago now.
There you go.
Because I sold it 5 years ago, yeah.
5 years ago?
Yeah. Mate, yeah, 5 years ago. I get stopped in the street. People speak to me, and I'm honest. I say, sorry, I don't remember. Oh, you're blah, blah, blah. Yes, I am. Thanks, brother. And one thing we always think, mate, I hug my people. Love, come here. Give me a hug. What's happening? You know what I mean? It's easy to shake or now you're allowed to do anything. But, come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
Once COVID's gone, let's get back on the hug scene. From even coming out of school, which again, I think you said you left in year 8, whatever it might have been. Let's even just say at the age of 18, when you were sort of in that, like getting into the security scene, did you think that you'd achieve what you've achieved? Yep.
I Jamie, I had this thing in my head that I'm not going to back it down. I'm going to do something big, and that's it. I'm doing it with or without anyone. I'm moving. I'm going to do this thing. The saddest. And you haven't asked me this question, but I'm going to give you an answer to something you may ask me. So, have you got any regrets? I don't have regrets like that. You know what I mean? But one thing that I'm, dirty on myself. You know what I mean? Is that my father? I'll never forget. I don't know if I've ever told you this. My father rang. He's come in. I want to talk to you about something. And he sat me down. He used to smoke, the Camel cigarettes. And he goes, "Listen here, mate. Go and get yourself a real job. What sort of job's this? You're belting people and this shit security stuff you're doing." And I'm trying to explain to my father, I don't do pubs and clubs anymore. We're corporate. We're this, we're that. And I'm just trying to tell him, but what I didn't do, and I failed on, unfortunately, my father passed away in my arms, copped a bloody heart attack. I should have done my first aid course, Jamie. I failed. But anyway, I never took him to see my office. We had $1 million fit out. I didn't go and have an office in Thomastown or somewhere in Tullamarine. Not that I'm picking on those areas,
of course.
But typical security, they just go and get these bloody office warehouses and pump it up. Everybody does that. I took the bloody professional whole floor, fitted it out. We looked like Google. It was incredible. That's how I wanted my team to feel. And my biggest pain was that I never took my father for him to come and see me, that I don't need to be, you remember then, go and be a bank teller or a lawyer or whatever friggin'. So have a, again, going back to that, have a crack, mate. Have a bloody crack,
And you know what? You said there about regrets. I honestly don't ask that question because in any of my podcasts, and my answers, if anyone asks me about the same, is ask me that question, is similar to yours. I don't really regret anything because I know me as a person that I'll always only ever do what I think is best based on the knowledge I have at the time. Yeah, I can look back and say, well, now I know this. I could have done that differently, but I didn't know it then.
Yeah.
So I know my personality the way I am. I'm only ever going to do what's best for me.
Yes.
That's the way I operate. So if I think that something is good for me, I'll do it. If I can look back in 10 years' time and say, oh, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Well, I didn't have that knowledge at the time.
That's
so I can't regret it.
I
love that. I love that. And you know what? Even that, it is a small thing, but it's so impactful. Even having the ability to bring your dad in and show him. And was this with ACG or was this when you were at the previous company?
ACG.
So he still didn't really get that it was not pubs and he didn't realize the scale that you were at.
No, I didn't understand. He couldn't know, He would see me on TV occasionally with all this and that and all his mates, because all the other wogs will come over and say, oh, look at Harry's in the paper with this guy with the football. We did some really big jobs. I mean, I'm probably we did some massive jobs and I was in the media a lot, and whether we're escorting somebody out or doing whatever, whether it was Buddy Franklin's 100th, and
totally
big operation behind the scenes and all this stuff, So, I don't think they understood the magnitude. And then I'll never forget pulling up in the Bentley, and I remember taking him. I had to take him to the bloody doctor for something, right? And you know what he did? He pulled out a smoke. I go, what do you think you're doing, mate? And he's looking at me like, I go, mate, it's a $500,000 car. And he goes, shut up, you idiot. He needs a cigarette. He needs a cigarette in the car, like normal. So,
love that. I guess his dad, what do? You got to let it happen. You're
what
it is. One thing you said, Dan, and I want to ask a couple more questions before we start to wrap it up, Harry. What goes into an operation like, you said the Buddy Franklin 100 goals? Like, what goes actually into organizing, preparing, logistically something like that?
Well, it's funny. I'm glad you sort of, and that just come up out of nowhere. But anyway, I'm glad you've asked that question. I'll tell you this. I briefed another security company long ago about that type of operation, because we're talking about high-risk operations. And I'll give you this give me 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So Buddy Franklin's kicking his 100th goal, right? No problem. This is what apparently he's going to do. We've got Fev, who's sitting on, I think it was 91.
That's right.
Right? Buddy's going to kick it. They're convinced he's going to kick it, and the strategy, and they've got the spies, the AFL have got the spies, they've come back, said they're going to pump the ball to him, he's going to kick it, right? Done. Beautiful. You got Ian Collins at then called Etihad Stadium, or Telstra Dome, I can't remember what it was, saying, I don't care what happens, no one's coming on my bloody grass, on my arena, right? So he doesn't want anybody on the turf, because the turf was busted, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so you got 60,000 people in the stadium. They're going to run on and thank Buddy for being a legend, right? And have a laugh at the footy. So you got Colo saying no. We then receive a phone call from, intelligence saying that a Carlton player, I think your viewers will work out who he is, had unfortunately been getting death threats, and they were live. They were real death threats. And on the day of the actual game, Jamie, what happened? This player, I nearly said his name, this player received a death threat, and the police were monitoring the phone, and what came up was that threat had come from the Docklands, so it was live. And what they said is they're going to kill him. As soon as Buddy kicks that goal, everybody runs on the ground, he's finished, we're going to kill him, right? So We've got Buddy kicking his 100th, we've got Fev potentially kicking his, and we've got a death threat, live death threat. You've got to understand the difference. So
and Ian saying no one go on the grass.
And then we've got the AFL then punching on with Ian and me saying that, and I'm saying to Ian, unless you bring in the National Guard and the Navy SEALs, people are going to run on the arena whether we like it or not. And we're not going to stop it. We're going to be absolute dickheads to try to stop it. Let's not be stupid, right? So we've got an operation going with Buddy. Buddy kicks his 100th. Beautiful. Now we've got, who's watching the Watchmen? We've got people watching the player. The people that are watching the player, we've got people watching them. We're now got people watching everyone to make sure that every corner's covered, that nobody can get close to this player that's unfortunately got this threat going. We've got to get Buddy off the ground. We've got to give him 10 to 15 minutes to get all the patrons off the ground safely. Then we need to bring Buddy back on the ground. The AFL's telling me that there's no way you can get Buddy off the ground. I highly recommend, even Jamie later on when you get a chance, Google Buddy Franklin's 100th goal. You'll love it. The scene. It's a 10-minute video, and then, you can see me drinking bloody Gatorade in the rooms. We have a funny story because my little brother was working on the arena, and Bill's a psychopathic Hawthorn supporter, and we're live on camera, and Bill's telling the behind the scenes, you're a legend, Buddy, and I'm trying to look at Bill, and I'm about to kill him because we're live on TV, right? So we've got all this happening, and then what happens? We're all sort of coming back on that, and you'll know that Fev got very close to kick his.
You got 99. Right? You got 99.
He got 99. When he's at 99, what happens? We get this code. We had a code that we used to use on the radio. It was called RFN, Right Effing Now. Not everybody knew that code. It was only a select few of people that knew that code. And what would happen, when that code came on the radio, it didn't matter what you were doing, you need to attend because it's a very serious incident, right? So we cop an RFN, and you see all these people jumping over the fence, running into the locker room because there's an all-in brawl in the locker room, right? And I mean, it's all in. Tables and chairs going. It's all happening, right? And they've assaulted a couple of our guards.
During the game or after the game?
During the game. And now I've got the control room. I've got the police. I've got the AFL going spastic because everybody's jumped over the fence running to this fight, right, to stop it because it's an RFN. They don't realise how serious it is. And then we've got Buddy just about to kick another 100. We have to do all this again. And then we're back on. He doesn't kick it. Everybody goes home safe. So that's, people don't realise. But then guess what, Jamie? The next day we're going to do all this again.
100%.
Not exactly that. But the football's on again, so we're back on.
It could be another event. It could be another festival. It could be another. How much work prior to that actually goes in? Like, is it months? Is it weeks? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, look, because of our experience and we knew who and what, and we've had an experienced team. Yeah. For us, it takes a week to plan it, right?
Yeah.
Put all the planning in place.
Right. Yeah, I love that. How cool is that? Again, like, you don't really know that shit though. You don't know that. Like you see Buddy kick 100 and you just think, oh, they've got a few extra security guards in today. to make sure that they can look after him and make sure he gets on and off the ground and the game can get restarted, but not the level and the depth of that has to go into it from your end.
Well, we can't afford anyone to get injured. If Buddy got injured, then it's game over, right? How's he going to come back on the ground? And then
that's his job. Yeah,
it's his job. And what people discount in Australia, overseas, very different. A lot of people die in crowd crushes. In Australia, we've been lucky, although we've lost a few, but not as many. And you need to have systems and things in place. You know, we call it the diamond, which you can push through. People don't know all the little things we do. Make sure that we've got water in there for him in the huddle, all this stuff. Anyway, but it works.
Even that, like even thinking about, cool, if we're going to surround him for 10 minutes, he's probably going to want a drink of water. Let's make sure we've got water.
Hydration, make sure we've got the right person. And that's why we've got the right runner to be next to him without annoying him, because he could have missed it if you're too close to him. So see,
there's this is great. I'm loving it. This is because again, I grew up playing footy and I remember watching that game, and I remember seeing it. But I'm definitely going to go back and watch it. And I want everyone listening and watching to go and watch that and see the operation that Harry and his team put on.
Buddy Franklin's 100th goal, and you'll see the commentators crack a joke because we forgot at that stage they'd also put in the live cameras in the change rooms. Remember?
Ah, yes.
And it's audio and everything. So I'll never forget in there and. They're going, oh, these guys must be the top dogs helping themselves to the Gatorade, because I'm there going, because we were dehydrated so bad.
Totally, yeah. You would have been on edge of the entire game waiting for that exact moment. Harry, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Why do you think you made it? I'm not going to say what makes you special. But what do you think, why do you think when you were 11, 12 to 18, I'm sure there was many of you guys who were there doing security and many of you guys there working. Why you, though? Why did you go out Jamie, and $100 million business? Why did you go out and do what you did?
Because I decided, as I said to you in I think at the start of the conversation, I decided to go through the hard way, not the easy way. And I believe that. And one thing that, Jamie, there was a time, as I said to you, I think it was about 2003 or 2004. I can't remember what it was. Probably 2003, actually. It couldn't get any worse. I caught bloody kidney stones. I broke my hand. The missus did the runner. The world's ended. I'm thinking the whole world's ending. And I'll tell you something that, and it's something that I didn't touch on, and it's very big for me, and that is my faith, right? I believe. I'm a believer. I always do my cross before I eat. I do my cross. I'll do a prayer before I go to bed. I'll do one when I get up. People say, are you religious? You know what? I'm just blessed. I feel blessed to have something to eat. I'm blessed to have a great family. I'm blessed to be able to have these opportunities that many don't, and we take them for granted, right? So I don't know if that answers your question, but why me? Because I think that I just gave a lot more than others, and I still believe I do.
It's definitely not about, they didn't do enough or you didn't. It's not about, but again, like there's so many people out there who get into business. There's so many people out there who want to do something, and you've done something and more to the highest level possible, and you're still the most humblest person in history. You're still the most down-to-earth guy. So it's like, is there something special there? Like, is there something in your head that you think, wow, like that's the key?
I just think being an incredible human being. I preach it all the time. My whole family here call me the mayor. They call me the mayor. I just talk to anyone. I say it when I do my public speaking. I think you've heard me say it. People get in the lift, right? They get in the lift. What's the first thing they do? They look down.
Get their phone out. Yeah.
Mate, don't you want to look at the bloke that's going to stab you? Or the lunatic that's going to stab you? I want to go, hey, what are you doing, mate? I've met so many influential people in the lift. Hey, come on. Is it hard to say good morning? Hello, how are you?
Even a smile.
Come on.
I love it. Last question, Harry, I've got for you. Is there something that someone has ever said to you ages ago when you were growing up, more recently, but something that really has stuck out, something that really that you draw back on? And it's not the question of what's your one tip. It's what did someone say to you that you draw on for energy, for whatever it might be, that always pops up?
It's funny, Jamie. One thing that does pop up, and it made me reevaluate and think about a lot of things, was it was the BHP CEO. I was protecting him at a very large event, and as you know, at the time, Australia's largest company, and et cetera, one of the global beasts, right? And I'll never forget, he said to me, never forget something. It's very lonely at the top. And you can look at that any way you like, but the more successful you become, you need to maintain a certain standard. You know, you can make your money, but you also need to keep your money. You're also fighting to make money. And then when you get there, do you really get there? Are you really there? And who are you with? Do you really need 300, 500,000 million people around you? Or is it really that, and is it lonely at the top? And I used to think about that. And I think the more I thought about it, it was, if you're comfortable with yourself, you'll never be lonely.
Totally.
So
I love that. I love that. And hearing it from such someone at the top of the top, like some of the top biggest companies in the world sharing something like that. And then even for you to look at it on the flip side, not just take on board, well, he said that, he's at the top, it must be true. Flip it around and say, well, hey, you know, if I'm okay with myself and not lonely with myself, then I'll be fine.
I'll be fine, yeah.
Harry, you're an absolute legend. This has been an incredible episode. And you're giving some great stories. We said it at the start, there would be some stories. But Harry, where do people, you know, keep up with what you're doing? You personally, Life Worldwide, where do they get some of the medicine? Like, where do they keep up with what Harry's doing?
Look, I'm on LinkedIn, you know, my name, Harry Korras, Facebook, Life Worldwide, all that. We've got a website that you helped us with, you know. We're there. Look, I do the run is done, you know that. I do that every morning.
Love it.
I give the medicine back. You know, it's all about giving, Jamie.
The run is done. Guys, you need to go and get your run is done daily intake, a 1 minute run is done video from Harry. I'll put all the links in the show notes. I'll put them all out there for people so they can just click on it and go straight to it to learn more about you and what Life Worldwide is doing. But Harry, I really appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Guys out there, make sure you go and follow Harry, follow what he's doing. Like I said, definitely get your daily dose of the run is done. You will definitely get something from it on a daily basis as well. But again, Harry, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys out there, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us today. And I look forward to having you on the next episode. Bye for now.